Here stands a tale of regret, a tale of learning, and some terrible mistakes that I would never make again. Well, shit. So the 15th annual Pirate Software Game Jam, I took part in the 14th not too long ago, which ended up going poorly due to poor planning and poorer coding. And now, I stand again in the ring to make a game that can fight for its life, as actually functional. A game jam, for those who don't know, is a competition where a bunch of people gather together to make a game that follows a certain theme whilst disregarding basic human functions, like showering and sleeping. This time, the theme was Shadows and Alchemy. The ideas I came up from this were a roguelike, where you have to invade an alchemy lab, beating enemies and taking items to progress further. A salon, where shadows want forms, so you have to make potions to create their bodies of their demands. And then a game, where you have to keep your room lit to keep shadows out, using machines and whatnot, and to make it progressively easier and more robust. I went with the second choice because I thought this would suit the time frame better and my current skill set, and I thought it would be a chance to get to draw some funny stuff. So to start, I made a game design document to outline where I wanted the project to go for each stage, the core idea of the game, which I've already described, the main loop of the game, so its basic gameplay, as it's simple to create a minimum viable product, or MVP, then the face changing mechanic, potion mechanic, and finally, if I had time, some music and art. The basic loop wants to be, shadow creature enters, requests a face, player makes a face, shadow gives money based on how close it was to the request, the player can then use this money to make more potions, to make the next face/faces, so on and so forth forever. To accomplish this, I started by making a capsule move in front of one side of the screen, and once it reached a given location, it would stop moving and trigger a function, to be called, that would generate a given face. I feel like now would be the best time to talk about the face changing mechanic, given the extra large title card as well. So the face has three components that make it up: eyes, mouth and nose, and altogether these can make some just spectacular combinations. When initially designing the face's code, I wanted something visual to provide feedback so the player knew if the beautiful face you had created had matched the order of the shadow. So I did particles that change their colour depending on the order. If it's exactly what the customer wants, it goes green, if not, more red. However, this wasn't fully finished, as once you've achieved this perfect order, the colour doesn't switch back for the next order. Anyhow, the way the shadow chooses the face they want is they select a random number, then this chooses a desired face from a list. And each different face component, like each pair of eyes and noses, have their own individual score. This way, a desired order just basically becomes a big maths equation, but with more noses. Then, when the player gives the customer the face, they receive the money based on how closely the face matched their order. The potion mechanic works by having three options. One potion will randomly change all face components, one randomly changes only the eyes, and one will change only the noses. This is so the player can change their face, but still have some randomness and luck, so they still have to manage their money. If the player runs out of money, they can brew more by buying ingredients for potions, which work by each ingredient added a certain amount of score to a total, and if the total meets a certain threshold, then it will become a different potion. The place where you make faces and potions was made in two separate scenes, so I had to learn how to pass data between the two scenes, otherwise the player wouldn't be able to buy the potion ingredients, or get more potions to make more faces. So what I did to solve this problem was make a JSON file to save the amount of gold the player had and the amount of potions the player has. Then when leaving the scene, it would save those numbers, and when entering the new scene, it would take that save data from the file to keep everything the player has accurate. This is the first time I've ever made something like this with JSON files saving data from place to place, and it was actually quite easy to learn. So, for the music, I just added 2 small songs that I had already made myself, made them in FL Studio, and they are bad and get annoying quickly, but do the job for what's needed. The background art was drawn very quickly as well, when I realised I didn't have any, and then quickly scrambled to make it before the final deadline. Overall, the jam went fairly well. The game has a couple of resolution issues, but I know how to solve that for future projects, and everything functions as intended. The art could also use some touch-ups, but it has some charm. No, it's just bad. It's just bad art. In the final rankings, I didn't do too bad, finishing in around the top 10 in the playability category. So overall, I did miles better than last time, and I might go back to make it better. Thank you for watching. Bye!